Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Friday. I hope y'all are doing good. And since I probably won't see you live here on YouTube from now till Christmas, Merry Christmas to all of you and yours. And I did bring out Christmas Lamy this year. Those of you that have been watching for a while might recognize him. So we're trying to be as festive as we can. Now, Christmas, I'm just going to talk about this for 1 minute here. How's it going, Christmas Lamy? Christmas. Just remember, Christmas is a celebration of the birth of Christ, as in Jesus Christ. And you actually can't have Christmas without Christ. And look, that opinion might not be popular with some of my viewers, but the problem with this country is it's just become so commercialized. Everybody's in debt so much already. We're taxed to no end with the jackboot of the government firmly on our neck. And everybody's worried about buying Christmas presents for everybody. Now, look, buying Christmas presents is a great tradition. Spending time with friends and family is awesome as well. But this country was founded as one nation under God by white, Protestant, Christians. Spare a couple, literally, but almost all of the founding fathers were that. And I think it's sad to live in the United States of America in the year 2025, where there ain't much room for a white male, straight, conservative Christian in this country anymore. And I think it's kind of sad with all of the oligarchy in this country right now. It's called crony capitalism. It's called oligarchy. It's called a tyrannical government. Now, when I say oligarchy and a tyrannical government, I actually just repeated myself, didn't I? Because Congress has exempted these sites. It's called Section 230. They can do whatever the heck they want, even though we know that YouTube is the town square. It's the second largest search engine in the country and in the world. I don't really give a crap about the rest of the world, actually. You know, some people say America first. I say America only. And screw the American government too, by the way. Now, there's some good people here. Some people that still belong here. All these others, all these invaders, people that don't want to assimilate to America's culture. People who always want to get down on a heritage American like me and probably a lot of you as well. Yeah, they can all go get lost. Love it or leave it. If you don't like it, get the heck out. And by the way, even if you like it here and you're not supposed to be here, you need to get the heck out too. But here's the problem though. So many of these sites here in America are run by foreigners, actually. I'm sure Vivek Ramaswamy is going to win governor of Ohio, isn't he? Oh, he's got some good talking points. Oh, he'll talk the talk, and he's probably real popular amongst a lot of conservatives, a lot of Team Red. Go Team Red. Just think about what I just said. I'm sure the conservative Americans are going to line up to vote for Vivek Ramaswamy. Well, here in America, we're under Vivek Ramaswamy. Can someone just wake me up from all this crap? No, that's the thing. You ain't going to wake up for this. Here we are on YouTube. Here we are on YouTube. And look at Dearborn, Michigan, by the way. You think there's a lot of good Christmas celebrations going on there? See, here's the problem. Let me digress for a minute, if you guys don't mind. And then we're going to get into the Second Amendment and red flag laws. But all of that's almost besides the point at this point. We pretty much lost this dang country. And we keep losing it. What's it even going to matter anymore? It's a turning point USA. The conservative industrial complex. Grifters are us. That's why this channel's not popular. That's why this channel can barely even keep the doors open. But I don't really even care about any of that right now. So Turning Point USA. Rah, rah, rah. Yeah, whatever. You know what? You've got Ben Shapiro on there saying Jews and Christians. Then you've got Tucker on there rebutting him, saying, well, Muslims are more compatible with Christians. No, no, no. Jews ain't compatible with Christians. The religion is not compatible with Christianity. It's just not. And anyone that's read the Bible knows that, actually. And guess what? The Muslim religion is also not compatible with Christianity. And it's Christmas time right now. And we have two of the biggest conservative influencers out there. And one of them says the Jewish religion's the most compatible with Christianity. And the other one's saying, actually, the Muslims are. And I'm just sitting here saying, what the heck? Well, I'm bringing this around to another point here, because we're actually on YouTube right now. Shout out to all the Vivek Ramaswamy fans. Well, guess what? One of his cousins, or 6 cousins, or whatever he is, runs YouTube. You can't even pronounce these people's names. Don't even try anymore. Heck, just give this country another 10, 15 years. You won't even know how to pronounce John Smith. John Smith will be the most foreign sounding name in this country, the way things are going, actually. Now, don't get me started on the Democrats, but the Republicans are sitting there saying the Jews are exactly like Christians and the Muslims are exactly like Christians. Just read the dang Bible, people. This is Christmas time, right? Jesus Christ. So here's the deal. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be allowed to talk on this site anymore. The channel has a strike right now. I lost my appeal. Pretty soon they won't even let me upload on here anymore. And then I get comments every day saying, man, I was subscribed to your channel, but now I'm unsubscribed. I get comments every day saying, dude, I don't get alerts anymore for any of your streams or anything you post. Now, here's the thing, and I'm not going to dwell on this because all of you that are here right now, you guys are subscribed and or you did get the notification, but I can't put out that public service announcement. My megaphone only reaches the people that are actually watching, so I can't even talk to the people to say, hey, all of you that don't know that I still have a channel here, all of you who don't know that I'm still posting live streams every Friday night, come on over, I'm still here. Come on in, the water's fine. No, you can't do that because they can't hear you. And YouTube sucks subscribers out of this channel every single day. Now, some people just unsub because they're like, oh, 2AEDU's a bigot. Oh, 2AEDU's a Christian. Yeah, you're dang right I am. I'm a bigot. I'm a misogynist. I'm an America first, America only. So, yeah, whatever. But no, they're literally just sucking subscribers out. And then there's people, good people, that come in here. And they're like, dude, I haven't seen you for 6 months. Yeah, I know. It's called the system. They decide who watches this. It's called programming for a reason. This used to be called YouTube, but they've taken the U out of it. Now it's called they, them tube. Whoever they are, I don't even know anymore. But here's the thing, though. I'm only allowed to talk on here till I get one more strike. Now, I got struck for talking about an ammo company ceasing production, going out of business for about a year. They got me for the so-called promotion thereof. Promoting? I was talking about how they're not going to be making for another year. It was actually the opposite of that. It was me basically saying, you're not going to be able to get for a year. They won't be making for a year. No, it doesn't even matter anymore. You say up, they're going to define it as down. You say down, they're going to say it's up. 2 + 2 = 5, but sometimes it equals 3. If you say 2 + 2 = 4, up there's another strike. Shut up, moron. Forget everything you ever learned in this country. Forget everything you ever learned. No, it's called programming. You can call it the New World Order. But again, it's a tyrannical government. It's oligarchs. The government's in on it. There's Section 230. They can do whatever the hell you want, and you can't. They can do whatever the hell they want, and you can't do anything, actually. Now, this is the time where I should be saying, but make sure you follow me on that other site that rhymes with fumble, and if you dare say its name, you'll get algorithmically extracted even more. And it's not just an algorithm anymore. It's an AI running this site. And yeah, I'm on locals. Next time I do a stream on those, I'm sure 5 people will be watching, and I do look forward to seeing the 5 of you. Nobody that watches YouTube will watch censorship-free stuff. I'm not going to ask anymore. I'm not going to beg. And I'm not admonishing my viewers. I'm just saying this is what the gun community wants. This is what the Second Amendment community wants. They want censorship? Well, they have it. Now, my New Year's resolution is just to stop coming on this stupid site. Because I actually can't stand it on here anymore. Now, don't conflate what I'm saying here. I like all of you, and I see lots of good people in the chat. But there's a new AI over this site, and everything's different now. Now, it was always bad, but it's a whole lot worse, actually. A whole lot worse. Both the consumer end, a viewer end of things, when I'm going to watch YouTube how I used to, they won't even show me any of the channels that I like anymore. In fact, I go to my subscription feed, and it's not even just reverse chronological. It's like, for you, you may also like. And then I have to scroll and scroll and scroll, and then I can finally just see a list of the people I'm subscribed to. It's curated. It's rigged. And in my opinion, this site's turned into complete and utter garbage. So there you have it. Now, I've not made the official decision to stop uploading here, and I might change my mind. Notice how I worded that. I worded it very accurately. The only thing I want right now for a New Year's resolution is to get away from this stupid crap, this stupid site. But I haven't made up my mind yet, and we'll see. Every day people come in here. One person in the live chat, when I first came in here, the first thing they said, it's my good friend Red. What's happening, Red, if you're watching? He didn't get the notification, of course. He's only like one of the longest viewers of this channel and one of the most regular viewers, and also my good friend. Of course they wouldn't show it to him. Why would they? Paul Bennett's here, first in the chat as always. What's happening, Paul? Nice to see you, man. And thanks for being a channel member. And it's nice to see all of you guys. Denny's Plant-Based Journey, N8IWS. Thank you for the support, guys. Wild Times. What's happening? Wolf. What's up, Mateo? Barney Brady. Nice to see you guys. There she is. Jane Locke. What's happening? Now, I hope you guys know me better than this. I'm not sick of you guys at all. You're the only reason I'm here. This site is literally just gotten insane. And I think YouTube's going to implode here over time, actually. You know, you just make it as crappy as you can on the creators and then as crappy as you can on the viewers. What the heck's going to be left? That's what these people want, man. They will rule over an empire of dirt. Actually, what's happening, Gort? How's it going, Rescue Nut? Yeah, he doesn't get alerts either. He's one of the regulars of these live streams. Of course he's not getting an alert. What's happening, Marco Polo? Sorry, guys, who's watching on replay. I know it's not fun to listen to me just say hi to people, but you know what, man? If it wasn't for all the people here, it's like, geez, oh, Pete. The only good thing about this site is You guys, the actual people that are still around here. Actually. Right, Harry Grimley? No, they don't want just a guy sitting in his shop anymore. Right, Denny? No, they don't want a guy just sitting in his shop talking about real stuff, talking about the Second Amendment. They don't want that anymore. No, they want this to be big corporate TV type stuff, and they're trying to emulate TikTok. That's what they want, TikTok. They want everything to be like TikTok. And I'm not on TikTok, and I am not going to be on there either. So there you go. So with all of that said, there was an important, let me thank everybody first. I do want to thank all of you very sincerely who do help support this channel. You don't get the corporate ad reads here like Denny just talked about. So I do want to thank all of my channel members for the support. Anyone who leaves super chats, I appreciate all of you as well as my local supporters, which is a different site, censorship free. I know it's another app and people don't, I know, I get it. And also thank you to my Patreon supporters. I appreciate all of you. And I appreciate it, Barney Brady. But you know what? Here's the deal, man. And I appreciate it, dude. Here for the duration. I'm going to be here. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here. I don't want to lie to you guys. Maybe I'll be here for the duration too. But here's the thing. It's not really my choice anymore. The channel has a strike on it. It has another warning on it. I've been getting weird messages from YouTube lately. And here's the problem. If I get another one, I won't even be able to come on here to tell you guys about this. That's the thing. I won't be able to tell you. Just like all these people that come in every day lately, multiple times a day and say, dude, I thought you gave up. Haven't seen, I just kind of forgot about you and said, oh, I wonder what 2AEDU's up to. I get this stuff every day. So they search for me. They're like, whoa, this guy's put out 100 videos and live streams combined in the past year. Yeah, I know. These are very important issues I'm trying to alert people about. These are very important things we need to talk about. And you know what? That's probably the very reason why they're unsubscribing people and they won't let anybody see anything anymore. If it's anything important that's against their agenda, I don't think it's much of a coincidence, is it? But yeah, I get in just this much more trouble with YouTube. I won't even be able to get on here to tell you guys I'm in trouble. At least when you go to jail in the real world. The real world. I'm trying to be a little funny. The real world. What does that even mean anymore? Someone's like, the real world? What's that mean? I don't know. Maybe someone can define that for me here in the live chat. What's the real world, 2AEDU? I have no idea. Don't know where I am right now. Have no clue, actually. I see some really good people here, and I know you guys have to be wondering the same thing. But in the air quotes real world, you go to jail. At least you get your phone call when you go to jail. YouTube, when they put you in jail, you don't get a phone call. You literally can't post anything at all, actually. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm not wishing this upon myself, but if I were to have a hunch, that could be happening here real soon, and I won't even be able to tell you. So there you go. What's happening, Fluffy? And I'm glad you did get your alert. What's happening, Fun to Learn? All right. So in Michigan this Wednesday, there was actually a very important hearing in the House Judiciary Committee. This concerns red flag repeal. Now, it is a split legislature, meaning the Democrats do control the Senate. The governor of Michigan, she ain't going to sign. However, if we're going to get stuff turned around, and we do need to turn stuff around, this is the first step. So they held a hearing for what's called testimony. A very limited, small amount of people got to testify verbally, and then there was also the opportunity to do written testimony. Which, look, I know all of you don't live in Michigan, but hopefully this is still an interesting topic because there's these national groups. And really what this is this is an international order. This is the whole world that hates America. The whole world that especially hates the Second Amendment. Now, keep in mind, much of America also hates America and also hates the Second Amendment. And we're getting infiltrated so much right now, it's almost impossible to tell what America even means anymore. But with all of that said, this is the agenda that is in many other states right now. This is the agenda that's coming to your state at some point. Now, shout out to all of you who live in states that are a lot more free, less restricted than Michigan and others. Now, that means it might be a few more years before it comes to your state, but this stuff's coming everywhere. You ain't safe nowhere, actually. Now, shout out to all of you who are still good right now, but keep in mind, this is places like Everytown. This is places like Mom's Demand. This is places like Mayors Against. This is Soros funded. This is Bloomberg funded. There's places like Giffords. There's groups called Brady. Look these people up. This is insane stuff. And they're just sweeping through the country. They're funded by billionaires. They're funded by national money, allegedly international money. And the web of money is so complicated, nobody even knows where it comes from, but they're very, very well funded. So part of the process, if you live in a representative constitutional republic, is to go to hearings, give your testimony. This is how a bill becomes a law. Now, am I fed up with this system the way it's working right now? Absolutely. Do I believe it's much more of a dog and pony show than actually what the founding fathers put in place? Absolutely. I'm not naive at all. And most of you understand that, but here's the deal. There's two ways to do this. You do it like the founding fathers did, where they were petitioning the King of England for a redress of grievance. They sent letters. They crossed the ocean for meetings of diplomacy. They'd send more letters. They'd try to enact more diplomacy. See, people get this weird abridged version of history, even a lot of people that are on the patriot side of things, a lot of Second Amendment supporters. They have this weird, like, abridged version of history. And look, the left has like a real messed up version of history. Trust me. But just to be fair, even a lot of people on the right do too. What a lot of people don't realize is for like decades, like at least, 30 strong years, the colonists were going through things like going to hearings, going to meetings, calling their representatives, sending letters to the king, making trips back overseas to the king. They did this for decades. Then, now this was after that. I want to make this clear. After that, they said, well, they're coming for the guns. They're coming for the magazines where all of the powder and ammo was held, like in Town Square, if you will. That was due to fire reasons. That's why most of that would be centralized. Well, every able-bodied man, about 15 to 45 years old, would need to own a firearm. And that was actually some of the very early founding laws of this country, that you must if you are militia age. That's why the militia is supposed to be we the people, not the National Guard, because that's under the UCMJ. It can be federalized. It can be deployed to fight foreign wars. That is not what the founding fathers had in mind. The militia was supposed to be regular people. But we don't have a militia like that anymore. Now, I know some people are in militias, and shout out to you, but we the people don't have like a national militia anymore. We just don't. People say, well, you have your state militias, which is your National Guard. No, that's not what the militia is supposed to be, and it's a perversion of the works. It just isn't. But one of the earliest founding laws concerning guns was that every militia-aged man was required to own a firearm, and they would do an inspection every year. Not like to inspect it and serialize it to confiscate it, but to make sure it was in good working order. Like, you could literally be criminally charged if you did not have a firearm. And I would rather live in a country actually where everybody must own a gun than having gun control. Now, hold on. There's certain people that shouldn't have a gun, but here's the thing. Times have changed a lot, and we've lost so much of this country. See, back then they still stood by the principle, and I think we still should, that if somebody's not safe enough to have a gun, they shouldn't be among us. That's the big problem here. We have too many people that shouldn't be among us that are among us. A lot of people just need to go. They need to be deported. And then certain crimes that are just a crime on its face. I'm not talking victimless crimes. I'm not talking you didn't fill out the right paperwork for your tax stamp. No. Tax stamps are unconstitutional. There should be none of this. None of it at all, actually. But I'm talking people who truly aren't safe to be among us. They shouldn't be on the street. They keep saying, we need to get guns off the streets. No, we need to get violent people off the streets. Now, there is a righteous violence when you're standing up for yourself, when you're self-defense, things like this. But think like the street thug type. Think like the places that have the most restrictive gun laws, the most gun control, where most of these violent crimes where people use guns actually happen. Think of things like a very small segment of the population, which is about 13%, that does tend to commit about 52% of the violent crimes. Start thinking about this and it'll all start coming back together. We didn't have 1352s in 1776 or in 1789 or in 1791, actually. And we didn't have gun control then either. And this country was a much better place and a much safer place. We didn't have all of these Americans that refuse to assimilate, that still say my country, meaning some sub-Saharan African country or Somalia. Anyone that's heard anything going on in, say, Minnesota, Maine, you know what I'm talking about. We didn't have places like Dearborn, Michigan. We didn't have Sharia law. We didn't have groups like AIPAC in 1776. Now, we did have the Dutch East India Trading Company, and all of this is part of the reason why the Revolutionary War was fought and why the colonists would then become the first Americans. But we didn't have other countries when this country was founded, owning our politicians, paying for them. Did anyone else hear this, or am I not hearing it right? Now, I'm probably going to lose subs for this and get thumbs down, so don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. But I'm hearing Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson essentially arguing. I was watching some videos today. I think they did it yesterday. They're arguing over, like, are the Jews more compatible with Christians, or are the Muslims more compatible with Christians? I'm like, what the heck's going on here? Where am I? What's going on? Are you kidding me right now? No. They're not kidding. This is how messed up everything's getting to be. But the colonists for decades did things that were the equivalency thereof of going to a Michigan House Judiciary Committee hearing to try to repeal red flag laws and submitting your verbal testimony in support thereof. And then and only then, after decades, after they realized they did have a tie that binds, they did have a group of people that were under the same moral compass. Now, they didn't want a national religion, and I'm not advocating for that either, but they still had the tie that binds, where they still were willing to live and wanted to live, looked forward to living under Christian principles. Because whether people like it or not, I know people are like, oh, you can't talk religion. No, look, you can't even talk about the founding documents without talking about religion, actually. And for all your parents and all your teachers and whoever, your parents are lovely people, shout out to them. I know all your parents didn't say this, but a lot of people were brought up saying, there's two things you can't talk about. You can't talk about politics and you can't talk about religion. And guess what? We stopped talking about it. For many years, you can't talk about religion. You can't talk about politics. Yeah, see where that got us? Look at where we're at right now. We're sitting here in America in the town square with congressional protection of Section 230, and I have to tiptoe around. I shouldn't have to tiptoe around. I'm an American. I'm supposed to be able to say whatever the heck I want. And you're supposed to be able to too, actually. But that ain't the way it works anymore. Let me get this straight one more time, because not many people will say this, but I'm going to say it again. You cannot talk about the founding of the United States of America actually, without talking about religious principles. And as the old saying goes, if someone doesn't believe me, go look it up. Now, I'm not telling you that I'm going to force you to be a Christian, and I'm not going to damn your soul to hell. And I don't want to have a national religion because there's problems with that too. Because power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And when you end up with a federally controlled religion, it ends up perverting everything, and it becomes a religion of politics rather than a true religion. So don't mistake what I'm saying here. But the founding fathers went through all of this, and they finally said, look, we've got the American people on our side, or the colonists, what would soon become the American people. We finally gotten together enough where we think we can do this. We've got each other's back. And then it literally says the word divine providence right at the end of the Declaration. Divine providence. Now, was that a Muslim divine providence? No, that's not what they meant, actually. Well, then it must have been the Jewish. No, it wasn't the Jewish divine providence either, actually. And there's always somebody out there. There's always the clever guy. So whoever watches this later, you're clever. But hold on to AEDU. There was a couple founding fathers who were actually deists. Yeah, I know. But they still agreed, actually, to take essentially the Christian moral compass and adopt that. And they were still part of that tie that binds. But almost all. And this isn't like my opinion. And you know the old saying, don't shoot the messenger. Yeah, whatever. People are going to give me heck if they want. But it's okay. Because most of you won't give me heck, actually. No. Almost every founding father was a Protestant Christian. And they just were. And you know what? As far as I'm concerned, if people don't want to acknowledge that, they can move and get the heck out of this country too, actually. Finally, after decades, they said enough's enough. Paul Revere, you guys remember that? The famous midnight ride. Now, it's been kind of coined as the British are coming. It was actually the redcoats are coming, because at that time, Paul Revere was legally and properly a British subject himself. He wouldn't have said the British are coming because him and his, the founding fathers, they were actually Brits too. Did you guys know that? Just shows you how stupid our education system is. Paul Revere ran around and said the British are coming. He wouldn't have said that. He was a Brit. You know what I mean? He wasn't an American. There was no country called the United States of America when Paul Revere did his famous midnight ride. The silversmith, Paul Revere. Look him up. Don't look it up on Grok, though, or don't look it up on Google AI. These AIs are, don't get me started on AIs, data centers. Yeah. It's kind of like when the virus hit. Do you guys remember that? The virus. They called it many things. Some people even called it the Kung Flu. Record sales of guns. Why? It wasn't because people thought they could shoot the virus out of thin air like skeet. No, you can't even see the virus. No, they bought it because they didn't trust the government. It's the same thing. It's the ether. It's the Ethernet. It's the internet. It's the new omnipresent. Basically a demigod is what it actually is. Actually, that is what it is. But you ain't going to be able to shoot the internet or the Ethernet or something in the air. I'm talking figuratively, whatever overlords are listening here at YouTube. No, you ain't going to be able to do that either. That's actually what's taking over everything right now, the data centers and AI. But let me back up. It was only after they were coming for the colonists, what would become the first Americans, the founding fathers, when they were coming after their ammo and their guns, when they said, no, we're actually not going to give them to you. And the Brits were like literally physically coming to confiscate it. Don't forget that. Shot heard around the world. The very first battles at Lexington Green, there's a field there, Massachusetts, and Concord, right around the Concord Bridge, it was called. So for the one or two people out there too that it's going to say, dude, why are you going to hearings? Why are you testifying? And I've gotten those type of comments recently. I say to those people, first of all, you ain't doing crap but sitting there on the internet. And second of all, pull up your bootstraps and stop being so black-pilled. Look, I talk as negative as anyone does. I've just talked about how much everything sucks for the first 35 minutes of this live stream, actually. Not to try to get people in a bad mood, because it is that bad. And we need to talk about real stuff. But for people that are like, well, you shouldn't go to any type of committee hearing and testify, or you're just like, whatever, you're like on the other side. Well, I would refer you to the founding fathers, and that's actually what they did for literally decades. And for all of you that said, no, enough's enough. But where the heck are you at? I'm talking to a hypothetical person, but these people are always in my comment section. So, you know the old saying, right, Mateo? Sometimes you can call them out. You know, you throw a rock into a pack of dogs, and the one that barks is the one you hit. No. Look. For all my Second Amendment supporting friends that want to try to cut me down and be like, 2AE to you. You're nothing but a simp and a cuck. No, I'm not actually. I don't allow anybody near my wife at all, actually. So, you have no idea. And second of all, where the heck are you at? Because every time they come on here and they're like, you know what? Screw this, screw that. Ooga booga, boogaloo. And I'm like, oh, where are you at? They ain't nowhere. They ain't doing crap. If anyone hasn't realized it yet, there ain't going to be no boogaloo. Not on our side anyways. There will be one, actually, but it won't be people that are on our side. Our side doesn't have the balls to do anything like that. Period. End of story. With what happened with that Kung flu, with the way everybody was locked down, it ain't going to happen. Now, that's not popular when I say that, but it's the truth. And here's the thing. And the founding fathers knew this, and this is how they separated the wheat from the chaff. Just think about what we've been through in this dang country. You would have thought there would have been one when the Federal Reserve was started. No, there wasn't actually. You'd think when the National Firearms got enacted, there would have been one, but there wasn't one then either. The greatest generation didn't do crap about it. Neither did their daddy or their daddy's daddy, actually. Nobody's fought for this country, actually, since like the 1860s. Now, I appreciate all of you that served, and don't take that the wrong way, but there hasn't been any actual wars for this country since the 1860s, if you really think about it. And I really don't want to hurt anyone's feelings that's a veteran. I hope you know me well enough. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, look, the government, the military-industrial complex. I can't think of any war that this country ended up. Yeah, I know. The Japanese did bomb Pearl Harbor. I know, but you'd think all the people that served in World War II could have fought off the National Firearms Act. They didn't lift a finger. They didn't care. U.S. v. Miller, 1939. Nobody cared about that court case at all, actually. Nobody was there rallying around the old flagpole. Get the fascists. Get the NAZI. Nobody ever said, get the tyrannical government jackboot off our neck. Nobody did it then. They're not going to do it. So in the meantime, about the only thing you can do that's productive is go to a committee hearing. Try to demand of your public servants, because that's what they are. They work for you, that they're to uphold the Constitution, and then that they're to operate at the consent of the governed, because that's the only reason a government's supposed to be allowed to exist at all. That's why I wrote my written testimony to the Michigan House Judiciary Committee. And the only reason I went on that little rant is don't let people get you blackpilled, okay? Because I haven't had any leftists or anti-gunners actually harass me at all. The only people I've had harassing me is people that are part of the Second Amendment community, actually, and people that say they're on my side and say, I'm a wuss because I wrote my representatives. I'm a wuss because I was on the phone with my state representative just the other day talking about all this and the strategy of how we can best repeal it. And I talked to my state senator, Joe Bellino, too, and said, will you call your friends on the committee to encourage them? And he agreed with me and thought it was a good idea. And he did. And here's the weird part about it. And look, I know most of you aren't doing that, so I'm not talking to you. I'm venting with you because you might run into this same stuff too. I'll call my state representative if I want, actually. Actually, while there's still a little bit of America left and there's still a little bit of the First Amendment left, I'll call my state representative as much as I please, actually. You know, it's protected by the First Amendment. And she's fighting for the Second Amendment, and she's my friend. And my Michigan Senator, Joe Bellino, I did a video on him just a couple months ago. He gave an awesome speech on the Senate floor. And we need to get behind people like that. And I'll call him as much as I want to, too. You guys help me figure this out, please, if you don't mind. Is this just people that are so-called black-pilled? Is that what this is? Why is it every time that we try to lift a finger, me and so many of you, we get all this flack from our side? What? Excuse me? Now, maybe these are just agent provocateurs, as the saying goes. I don't know. Maybe they're all a bunch of feds. Maybe the whole internet's just feds and everyone sucks and everyone's gay. I don't know at this point, actually. It's all gay, it all sucks, and they're all feds. If that's the answer, just let me know. You know what I'm saying? But it's just this weird thing. So I'm going to show you guys some of the hearing here and some of the testimony to show you guys how I'm involved in the political process. And let me say this one more time. I don't like politics. Okay? I'm not a Republican. I'm definitely not a Democrat. Like, no matter what. I'm not a socialist. I'm not anything that ends with ist. Not a libertarian, not a large L anyways. I have some libertarian ideals, and that's why I have a lot of friends who are libertarian. Small L libertarians. You guys that are libertarians know what I'm talking about. Like, I'm cool with a lot of small L libertarians, but I'm not even one of those either, actually. There's really no political home for a person like me. So here is my, of course, they've changed this app too, of course. They make everything so hard to use on here. Here's the Judiciary Committee website, right? We're going to see the members here. I did a whole video about this, and then I did a follow-up video reminding you all. Now, you scroll down, and I'm on a PC here. It might look different on your phone, but I think it's about the same. I kind of looked at it on my phone a little bit and whatever. You kind of scroll down below, and you'll see one of the panels there that says testimony. It's just a little block with a drop-down arrow. Now, check this out. Now, all of these that are December 17th, this was people testifying for a red flag repeal, whether they were in support of repeal or whether they were against the repeal. And for a minute there, I was like, oh my gosh, dude. Because like so many of you came back, which is awesome. Like, I appreciate all of you guys that did this too, by the way. Here, let me get this formatting how I want it there so I'm not blocking the screen. So many of my viewers, my friends, you guys were like, dude, I wrote, and some of you guys even like forwarded me your testimony and the emails you guys were sending. I'm like, dude, these guys are awesome. For a minute there, I'm like, where the heck are these guys? Did they all lie to me? And for 2 seconds, I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, no, there's no way these guys did. But I'll show you where you can find some of these. So, testimony. You're going to see Chris Stone with Gun Owners of America. You're going to see Rhonda Lang as herself, Brendan Boudreaux, Great Lakes Gun Rights. We're going to go through here, a list of people, and some of these were for the repeal, meaning they're against red flag laws. Some of these people are against the repeal, meaning they want to keep red flag laws, right? So I'm kind of going through here, and there's a decent list of names. I think I counted 17 names. And I'm like, dude, is there any way only 17 people actually testified? I'm like, whoa. Now here's this one I clicked on real quick. Some of you may have seen the video actually where I read this one out loud. Here's my official testimony that is in the official record of the House committee hearing. I read it all verbally to all of you, so if you guys didn't watch that video, you can hear me say it. Let me bring this back up. I'm going to show you where they're all kind of hidden here. If you guys want to go and see if your committee hearing testimony was made part of the record. There you go. They're going to do everything they can to make this just a little more difficult on me, aren't they? I have to redo my formatting. This site's messed up, guys. I'm serious. Oh, real quick here. Rescue Nut, channel member, and left me a super chat. He says, we appreciate you also, sir. Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate it, dude. And thank you for the financial support, because I'll just say thank you. I already ranted about YouTube enough earlier. All right. Is this thing finally up? All right. So here's where it's hidden. When we click testimony, you're going to see like 17 that were named individual. And then here's one right here. So you scroll down near the bottom of the 17th, and it says email correspondence. Now we click on this, and we're going to see 133 that are separately attached. So here's a lady named Kim, for example. Hi, my name is Kim. My email is... This is my testimony that I would like to have included on the record. I strongly support the red flag package, including House bills, etc., that's submitted by Jim DeSena. Red flag laws are dangerous to the nation's citizens, including Michiganders. This law makes it legal to confiscate an innocent person's firearm without due process. The legal responsible gun owner is a victim of the law. Very short, very concise. If you're watching, Kim, great job. I'm thankful that you were willing to submit that. Now, you're going to go through here. It's 133 pages. I'm not going to read them all, but if any of you guys are on here, shout out to you and thank you. Now, I will tell you guys one thing, and this is good if you do this, but not the best. Now, a lot of these right here, as I'm going through them, these are all original comments, thoughts. These are all good. Let's see here. Dr. William Merbs. I read this one before. Very well thought out. Gosh, I just can't read 133 of these, but I really actually want to. A lot of these were really good. Now, this one's a card of opposition. So the Michigan League for Public Policy does not want red flag repealed, for example. So these are ones that are for and against. Now, you're going to see one that repeats itself quite a bit, and this is something I've talked about before. We see Matthew here representing himself are in full support of the bills. A very quick little comment there, which is good, and wants these bills to move forward out of committee and to be voted on, and that's what we need to happen still. The testimony was heard in the committee. I think it went very well. Now we need to keep encouraging them. So over this Christmas break, because they're off work for almost 3 weeks now, 2.5 weeks or so, almost 3 weeks, we need to keep on sending these emails to the committee members so their inbox is nice and full. Now we need to encourage them to actually hold a vote in the committee to send it to the House floor. And then our next mission will be to have a House floor vote. The faster we keep this ball rolling downhill, like in a good way this time, okay? Like the faster we can get it rolling, the more momentum we have, the quicker each of these subsequent steps will happen. Ask me how I know this. Well, I've talked to a lot of people in Lansing over the last week. Keep the momentum going. This person, Timothy, just literally said, I support these bills. Hey, that gets the point across. That's something. His voice was heard just by saying that. Oh, here we go. I think this one might be in the chat. Is that true, Jeff? Shout out, Jeff. What's happening, Jeff? I know Jeff in real life. He's from around here. You know what I'm saying? Where is he at? Say something, man. I know I saw you just a second ago, okay? Should have I started this with like the positive? Like, now I'm cheerleading you guys. No, you guys are awesome. I'm afraid since I started this stream so negative, maybe I warded everybody off. For those of you still watching, nice to still have you here. I was negative when the stream started, but I mean, but now I'm like, no, dude, there's some cool people in here. Oh, there he is. Look, right here. Here's how I can show you, because these are real people. I've met the man several times in real life. Drain the Swamp, if I'm not mistaken, the last time we saw each other was at the Speedway gas station in Howell, Michigan, near Latson Road. I mean, is that right? I believe that's the last time we've seen each other face to face. No, these are real people. I know you guys, right? So let's go back over here to this. Oh, I wasn't sharing the right tab. Okay, well, I read it for you guys. So I read it for you. Sorry, this software is all new. So here we go. Here's Jeff. He says, I got fired from Walmart Spark Delivery for supposedly calling a store associate a name. Complete hearsay. This is no different than the red flag law. Suppose this individual called my sheriff department and made a complaint. The sheriff would say, what do you want me to do about it? I say we move forward and repeal this law. This should have never been. Hear, hear, good sir. This should have never been. In a country called the United States of America, with the Bill of Rights, where the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, and they're not supposed to deprive us of our life or our property, okay, without due process of law, red flaggings get people killed. Go look it up. There's been several instances of that happening. Take the guns first, then due process? No, that's actually no due process at all. So yeah, these should have never been. And in the United States of America, it's impossible for these to even exist. So see, him just putting that in there, that little bit, I hope helps convince one of these committee members to pass this through, because I need to hear other people saying this stuff too. This should have never been. Please pass my message on to another supporter. Thank you. And he signs it, Jeff. So there you go. He testified. That's what that means. You're letting them know. You're giving them a piece of your mind. And I know these representatives. Look, I know who they all are. Some of them I literally know personally, as in, like, I have more than half of the committee's cell phone numbers right here. Now, do we talk every day? No, but I know these people, and I've been talking to people in the last week. They're really aware of where you guys are at right now. Like, actually, I think in a good way. I think, meaning we need to keep pushing the ball forward. Now, I talk to my state representative all the time. I talk to my state senator, not quite as frequently, but quite a bit too, actually. I do want to give my senator a shout out, just because why not? These are regular people, and I'm trying to dissolve this wall, like, between. Look, there's a tyrannical government. The government sucks. I said that when this starts. I'm not gonna take that back. There's a few here and there though who are on our side, and that's where we need to actually get behind them. So I'm trying to get a hold of my Senator Joe Bellino. I say trying to because it's really not that hard. But I know his chief of staff, his name's also Joe. When you're a senator, you have a whole group of staff. There's a chief of staff, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, man, this hearing's tomorrow. I got to get a hold of my senator. Let me back up. I was talking to my state representative. There she is, Jamie Thompson. I'm talking to Jamie. We're brainstorming. I'm like, dude, I know Joe's a senator, but like, he can't vote on any of this right now. And actually, nobody can vote on this unless or until they hold a vote. But first things first, we have the testimony. Now we want the vote. But I'm like, do you think if I had him call the Republican committee members saying that he fully supports the repeal and he's behind them and he urges them to, do you think that'll help? She says, of course that would help. So I'm like, hey, what do you think, Joe? Do you want these repealed? He's like, yeah. He's definitely on our side with the Second Amendment. And I'm like, I got to get a hold of him. Let me back up. Before I got a hold of him, I'm like, how do I get a hold of him? So I'm just finally just text him because his staff's like, he's on the floor of the Senate right now. And this is like the third time when it comes to Second Amendment stuff where he literally like leaves the Senate floor, goes out in the hallway, calls me up. He's like, what's happening, babe? What's going on? I tell him real quick. He's like, all right. I've got committee coming up. I'll be right on it. And he did, like right then and there. That's crazy, dude. Like when your senator like leaves and steps out in the hall to take a constituent's call personally, that means the Second Amendment's a huge priority. So I'm trying to give you guys some of the eager stuff that I've been hearing just to keep you where you're not like total despair. We have a long, long hill we have to climb up. Trust me, I'm not being naive either, but we do have the attention of some people in Lansing, and a lot of them are on our side. Okay. This person supporting the bills? Do they say their name? Oh, this is Mark. Okay, Mark. Extremely concerned. I could be targeted by individuals using red flag laws who oppose my civic activities. Now, some of these as we go through here, and gosh, there's just so many. Here's one right here. Now, look, you guys doing this is a good thing, but it's not as productive as the aforementioned ones that I just read. So here's a perfect example of a Gun Owners America form letter. Dear members of the House Judiciary Committee, my name is Mark Sinicki. I'm a Michigan resident and a member of Gun Owners of America. I'm ready to express my strong support of House bills, blah, blah, blah. Now you go through here and you're going to find dozens of these throughout these 133 that are worded exactly the same. It's just the whole like insert name here. Here's another one, for example. And they're essentially worded exactly the same way, or they are maybe a little bit of the formatting is different, but here's another GOA one, another GOA one. These are form letters. And Mateo, are you in the chat still? We were talking about this before. And I think I've mentioned it to you all, but I'm just going to mention it again just so you know. So let me back up. Anyone that did just the form letter, you didn't do anything wrong. You are helping the cause, but if you guys don't mind me, is it okay if I'm frank with you? Because trust me, do not take this as an admonishment. I'm not saying you did anything wrong. I'm not even telling you you didn't do anything right. I'm not even telling you you didn't do anything right. I think I said that right. But if I can be honest, I hope I can, you're not doing a whole lot when you do the form letter, because here's what ends up happening. And this isn't just in Michigan. This is everywhere. This is if it's on the federal level. This is if it's on the local level. If there's 100 people that have 100 different unique thought, and it doesn't have to be complicated. Some of these I've read to you tonight were very short and sweet. Some of them were longer. Mine was over 2 pages. But if it's a unique thought, it gets considered to be its own, like, here's 100 different ideas. Now, if there's 100 form letters that say exactly the same thing, all of them kind of get lumped together as there's one idea there. So whatever the words of the form letter says, those words only get portrayed once. Does that make sense? Now, to a small extent, yes, they're going to acknowledge, yes, 100 people did say the same thing. So it means a little bit more than if one person said it. It does. But in another regard, it's kind of like the same if 1,000 people did the same form letter or if one person did. Does that make sense? Because it's essentially the same words. Now, there's also a thing, and this is just human nature, and every representative, in this case, we're talking about the representatives. In this case, some of these might look at it a little different, but maybe you guys will follow me with this, because it's just kind of like common sense. Someone who took the effort forth to write their own letter with their own words, it can kind of be construed that they were a little more passionate than the person that just clicked, yes, please send this on my behalf. They clicked, they hit submit, then they click next, and skipped all the 10 different attempts at fundraising that you do get bombarded with when you're, a member of most of the gun rights groups. So you guys know what I'm saying, right? If not, I'll try to clarify that a little bit more. It's not that you did anything wrong. I want to say that one more time. And for all of you who are intelligent, I'm sorry I'm repeating myself. A lot of people aren't very intelligent, okay? A lot of people are dumb. A lot of people are borderline retarded. And sometimes I say something once and it's just not enough for some people. So pardon me for all of you who are actually intelligent, but no. You didn't do anything wrong if you did the form letter. You just didn't really give it your all, and it doesn't really count as much. Does that make sense? So, I mean, I think for the most part, I think Mateo's right here. And each individual person is going to be a little different. Now, I will say something real quick unique that Great Lakes Gun Rights does, and this is a little different. It's kind of like a form letter, but it's a little different. He does these petitions. Click here to sign the petition. But here's what he does. Instead of it just being 100 emails that are all the same, right? He prints them out, and they may be the same, but he prints them out on physical paper, and he hand delivers them to the Capitol. And then they have these huge stacks, like tens of thousands, it adds up to sheets of paper. And then that has a whole nother impact. It's like this whole weird thing where it's like this visual effect, like, whoa, there's that many people that want me to repeal red flag laws. I've been in legislators' offices before, and they're, you know, a lot of us are friendly on the 2A with each other. And I don't like politics. I don't. But a lot of us are friendly on the 2A. Look, if they're pro 2A and they're looking to repeal gun control and then also do everything they can to prevent any new, we're going to find ourselves friends insofar as the Second Amendment goes, right? And they're like, hey, come on back here. You know, someone, come back here, buddy, whatever. I want to show you something. And they'll show me those huge physical stacks of paper from Great Lakes Gun Rights. And there is actually something to that. But just like filling out the same form letter, it just doesn't quite. It's kind of like, as the old saying goes, you know, you dip your toast in milk and it just becomes kind of soft. It's a little soft, if you know what I'm saying. A. Steinman with a member super chat. Channel member for 7 months. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it, dude. He said, thanks for all you do, 2A Edu. Well, you're welcome, man. And thank you for supporting the Second Amendment in this channel. And I also hope we can meet each other in real life someday. What's happening, Wild Times? How you doing, man? Thank you for being a channel member and a super chat. He says, America first. Yes, sir. Absolutely. America first. And I'm kind of like America only at this point. There was this whole argument where they're like, well, someone was saying like, oh, Shapiro's Israel and Tucker's Qatar and all this. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have any use for the Middle East at all anymore. Like, none of it. Like, whatever, dude. Like, I don't know, man. I'm not compatible with any of it. Lots of good people live there. There's lots of good individual people that are just victims of the times and living under tyrannical governments. But just generally speaking, whatever, man. We can't even take care of ourselves anymore in this country. That's the problem. We have the old classic. This is the old classic Barry McCockiner username. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Says, see, here's the thing. We'll read that name on this channel because I don't care. I'm not politically correct. And here's the thing. Big win, though, by the way. This is a Second Amendment related, but if you're wanting to protect our children from weird, creepy people, huge win in the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals. Dude, it's this simple. And these people are so, oh my gosh, talk about stupid people. They go on and they go in circles. What's a woman? Remember the Supreme Court justice? They call these people so many names, it's hard to remember. But I think they pronounce her name Jumanji. Remember that? She's up for a confirmation, and she's like, they're like, what's a woman? It was a senator from Tennessee. Marsha Blackburn's her name. Shout out to all the Tennesseans. You know, y'all are the only 10 I see. But the senator from Tennessee, it's a nice state, by the way. I do enjoy it. Driving through it. Maybe I'd like to move there, actually. I'm sick and tired of this crappy state. But she says, if you were to become a Supreme Court justice, I need to know one thing. What's a woman? And she says, I don't know. Nobody knows. And I'm just thinking, what? She's like, how could I possibly know? I'm not a biologist. I don't have a degree in anatomy and physiology. And I'm just sitting there thinking, are you kidding me right now? Oh, I'm just sitting there screaming. I'm watching it from my computer, and I'm like, what's a woman? It's an adult female person. Like, duh. No, it's this simple. Boys have a penis. Girls have a vagina. And if there's somebody out there that just can't understand that, well, you're a retard and you need to shut up. And no, your voice doesn't matter, actually, if you believe that. And if you still just don't like it and you can't take it, then you all can get the heck out too, actually. You know what I mean? Well, 2AE to you, you can't say certain things. You're going to, yeah, whatever. Love it or leave it. If these people can handle it, they can get the heck out. See, just this guy's username got me going off on another tangent. He says, thank you for keeping us informed on the regular. Do you think we can eventually turn things around in our favor? I don't know, man. That's my honest answer. I mean, we might have a chance to get the ball rolling, to get red flag repealed. There's a few big ifs there. Look, I'm not into like totally wasting my time. But if you're not willing to stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. And maybe this is, and you guys tell me what you think if you're watching on replay or in the chat right now, because there could be a couple ways to think about this. Maybe this is the American spirit and we should all think this way. Maybe I'm being a bit selfish here with what I'm about to say. You know, I have a 13-year-old daughter. She's beautiful in every way. Children are beautiful. And we need our children to grow up to be the next good adults in this country. And we need to still have a country to be able to have good adults in this country. And more this country doesn't want good people in it, it doesn't seem. And I'd like this world to be a little better for her than it is for me, actually. And this country to be a little better for her. And at the very least, I don't want it to be worse than it is now. So at the end of the day, I'm going to try my hardest. And I don't want to fail. And I'm not accepting defeat prematurely. But I guess at the end of the day, we're going to try to make a change. Do we have a chance? Yes, we do. Are we going to win? I don't even know. And I might even tell you probably not. I don't know, actually. But at least I can look at my daughter and say, Daddy tried. So that's why I think it's worth fighting the good fight. Because look, you're trying to do the right thing or else you're complicit with the bad thing. That's how I've always looked at this. If you just sit there and do nothing, then you're saying you're cool with all this craziness and all this terrible stuff. And I'm not cool with it. And I don't like crazy, evil stuff. And there's tons of terrible things in this country. There's tons of terrible things in this state. But there's still enough good left that I think we should fight for what's good. And at the end of the day, if we lose, at least we tried. Does that make sense? And maybe I'm just coping, and maybe that's just me being selfish. And, oh, this guy only wants to do the right thing. So even if we lose, he can look his daughter in the eye and say, Daddy tried. I don't know. You guys can determine that. Maybe it's just the right thing to do. There's many ways to fight this off. I just don't really see anybody fighting it off in other ways. The shot heard around the world. I don't hear any shots right now. I mean, from the other side, I do. Maybe that'll happen someday. I don't know for sure. Oh, the swamp's murky. The swamp's deep. I completely agree. Wolf, wolves, wolf. We have to win. If the anti-gun wins, it will then be a loss for everything and everyone. It will be a dictatorship hell then. I know. Look at Australia. Do you guys hear this insanity? So they just have yet another shooting there. Now, if you're a younger guy or you're just now kind of paying attention to the Second Amendment, you might have to go look this up. But I'm sure a lot of you remember watching those videos. These are decades ago now, where it showed them literally filling up train cars full of all the guns that they confiscated in Australia. Essentially, without this rare exception where you can get like certain licenses for just a few select things, they essentially picked up almost all the guns in Australia. Decades ago now. And then they've come after them even further than that in more recent years. With New Zealand coming in with the Australia style model just a few years ago with that highly suspicious mosque shooting. You guys remember all that? And somehow, after they've literally essentially picked up all the guns from Australia, I know there's few exceptions, but they've essentially picked them all up. They're actually calling for more severe gun control. They're calling for more severe gun control in Australia. Oh, geez, imagine that. Imagine that. Gun control just doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work. It's never, ever going to work. There's more guns in this country than there are people. Now, I'm certainly the last person that's advocating for this, but if you guys would allow me to suspend belief for 1 second, let me say this first, right, Mateo? Any first order thinkers, plug your ears, please. Okay, if you're not a first order thinkers, plug them. Okay, anyone, let's just suspend belief and pretend we'd be better off without guns right now. Okay, we're better off without guns. How are you going to go pick them all up? There's 400, maybe pushing 500 million guns in this country. You ain't going to get rid of them. With modern printing technologies, somebody can make something to do their deed within minutes. It's just not going to happen. So even if that was a good idea, it won't happen no matter what. Okay. Now let's go back to reality. Okay. That was a hypothetical. I don't want that. Now here's the thing, though. They make a new law, a new gun control law. And as always, these laws only affect the law abiding. Criminals, by their very definition, don't follow laws. And good people with a moral compass. Now, look, none of us are truly good. Only Jesus is good. But people that by our standards are good people, don't want to hurt anybody type. Probably like most of you. Look, you'll violently defend your own family. I'm not saying you guys are wussies. I know that. Trust me. Have you seen some of these guys in the chat? And maybe some of you have. No. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But most of you just want to kind of be left alone. Don't mess with me. Don't tread on me or else. But you just want to be left alone, don't you? I know. People like us, we don't even need laws. We believe it's a moral sin, and we're going to be condemned in eternity if we were to do something like murder. You ain't gonna have to come after me with your gun. I'm not going to be peeping through the blinds of your wife in the bedroom because I believe God, the omnipresent, forbids me from coveting my neighbor's wife. I'm not interested in any other women except for my wife. So you don't have to worry about me or you or. But here's the problem. They pass these laws, and then the law-abiding people are like, well, I have to follow the law. Or under duress, you follow the law because you don't want to be locked up in a cage for years, decades, centuries in some cases. They try to put people in prison for. The criminals, they just laugh. They're always going to have guns, no matter what. Australia picked up almost every single gun in their whole country. Oh, geez, they're still having mass shootings. Chicago, look at the gun control laws there. Insane. Illinois has terrible gun laws. Cook County, which is where Chicago is, even has more restrictions with many things than the state of Illinois. And it's like all these blue states. I know most of Illinois is actually like really rural and conservative. And yeah, I know. Chicago overpowers the whole state. Yeah. We do have Detroit and Michigan and several other cities. It's all the same thing. There's these few cities here and there where 99% of the violent crime occurs. More than half the crime is committed by about 13% of the population. Look it up if you don't believe me. That's according to the FBI statistics. And actually, they find that the more gun control you put in place, the more dangerous it gets. The more, as the other side calls it, gun violence occurs. Because the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. And you end up with these gun-free zones. And these really, let's call them what they really are. These are criminal empowerment zones. And that's not enough. They keep passing more gun control laws in these areas. It keeps getting more and more violent. Now, some people can say, well, these people are just so stupid, they're never going to realize it. Yeah, there are a lot of stupid people in the masses that do fall for this stuff. They're a bunch of sheep. They're a bunch of idiots. But at the top of the things, no, it's not that they're stupid. This is all by design. They do want you to be running around in a circle chasing your own tail. They want society to be running around in a circle chasing its own tail. Because while we're chasing our own tail, they're doing all the top level stuff. While we're sitting here right now trying to repeal red flag laws, which need to be repealed, because now this is where, anyone you've ever had any type of like date with, an ex-roommate. So just think about this for a minute. Let's say you're an older guy in the chat right now. Shout out to all the older guys, whatever that means. I'm not exactly young myself, trust me. Let's say you're 70 years old. And about 52 years ago, when you were 18, so was she. You took her out on a date. You said, ma'am, I'd like to take you to the ice cream parlor. Let's go to the soda fountain, darling. And you went there and she had a crush on you and you're like, she just actually ain't my type. You thought she was Susie Q. She ended up being Susie Rottencrotch, if you know what I mean. I mean, I actually don't know anything about that, but maybe someone out there knows what I mean. And you're like, well, hold on a minute. This girl's what do the younger kids call it? 304, whatever. I don't want to catch something. Crabs, no thanks. So you're like, nah, never mind. We ain't going to happen. Now, here's the thing, though. She had a crush on you. She never forgot it. She got jealous because you ended up marrying a nice, clean-cut woman later. While your life's doing a lovely job folding your laundry. She's got suds in the bucket, clothes hanging out on the line. You've got your white picket fence. Everything's great. Think about this for a minute. She's raised all your children. Everything's good to go. Now you're in your golden years. And old Susie Rottencrotch down the street's like, hold on a minute. A scorned woman, imagine that. Hold on, has anyone heard of a scorned woman before? Scorned women, feminism, gays, it's all the same at the end of the day. But she says, oh, hey, whoa. I'm jealous of him. I'm jealous of his white picket fence, and I'm jealous of his white wife. So she decides we did go on a date 52 years ago. No, I'm serious. This is the way the red flags are. The year was 1973. You went on a date. You said, girl, it ain't going to happen. You ain't the apple of my eye. And you kicked her to the curb. She couldn't handle it. That's what a scorned woman means by definition. She couldn't handle it. She calls up and says, I went on a date with him once in 1972. Oh, well, by all means, ma'am, come in here. Fill out the old paperwork. Then they come to the house. She says, I believe he's a threat to himself or others. Now, the red flag law actually means you can be intentionally or unintentionally a threat to yourself or others. Now here's the thing. This could happen. About 80% of the red flags that are filed, the orders, they actually get approved by the judge, by the way. Now, 90% of them end up being false, and only 11% of the time does the person lose their appeal. So that shows that At least 9 out of 10 times, probably more than that, are false flaggings. However, she says, well, hold on a minute. He should have put some more salt down on the ice on his front step. And he might slip on it unintentionally. So now he's an unintentional threat to himself or others, and he owns guns. So they come to the whole house. They take all your guns. Maybe your grandkid lives with you. They take all the grandkids' guns because it's a whole house red flagging. If you guys don't believe me, look at the actual red flag law in Michigan. You can believe they are intentionally or unintentionally a threat to themselves or others. What's that even mean? You're an unintentional threat to yourself or others? Excuse me? You mean you might have an accident? Like, accident, slip and fall, call Lee Free, call Sam. If you live in Michigan, you know what I'm talking about. Been in a wreck with a tractor trailer, call Sam. Sam Bernstein. That is literally how insane these red flag laws are. It could have been a roommate when you were in college, after college. Maybe you didn't even go to college. But here's the thing, none of that even matters. It could be any police officer can red flag you. Anybody, when you really look at it. The list of people so long, they can file in any jurisdiction that they want in the whole state. So they can judge shop, they can jurisdiction shop. And there are instances now, as reported on, some of them really close to here actually, like in Northville, Michigan, for example. A 6-year-old gets red flagged and they come and take the guns from the parents. The 6-year-old said something in school that they didn't like, so they come and take guns from the whole house. So this was a very important hearing to have because of 2 reasons. First of all, yeah, we can't get it totally repealed from being a law in this session. But there are elections coming up. Now, I'm kind of pretty much disillusioned and disenchanted with the whole system by now. I am. But I am a single issue voter. Meaning, if there's nobody that has my back on the Second Amendment, I ain't going to go vote. Does that make sense? If there's nobody that's going to have my back for the Second Amendment, there's no reason for me to vote. That's what a single issue voter means. Now, there's many issues that are very important to me. And so much of this is such a dog and pony show. I don't know how much faith I have in any of it. However, I love the whole Bill of Rights. I love this country as it was founded and intended. The first 10 amendments. After that, the country started going to hell. Repeal the 13th. Repeal the 19th. No, just repeal 11 through 29. But here's the thing. The Second Amendment's my favorite. So it's put there not for if, but for when they come for all the rest. They're coming for all the rest, and they're coming for our guns. In the state of Michigan, in so many places, and while the federal government is much less worse, Bondi and all of hers are still defending the National Firearms Act in court right now. So they're way less worse than the previous administration. What do we call them now? The former vice president? Oh, yeah. Way less worse than that. Trust me. Trump started a 2-way task force. Great news. Maybe the task force should tell themselves to stop defending the National Firearms Act in court. That would be a terrific start. Think about this. Forms a task force to stand up for the Second Amendment within the DOJ. Meanwhile, the DOJ defending the National Firearms Act in court. Try to make this make sense. Yeah. Anybody disillusioned out there to voting? I hear you, trust me. But I'm a single issue voter. So if I see someone on the ballot that's going to actually defend the Second Amendment and actually vote to repeal? Of course, they're going to vote against any gun control, but they need to do more than that. They need to be willing to repeal existing gun laws as well. And they're also willing to get out there and advocate for it, because we do have what's called a court of public opinion, and that's where we need to win. There's a bunch of normies, a bunch of drones, okay? All of that stuff's going on. We need to win there too. Yes, we need to win in actual court. There was a huge Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals court victory. As Martin Edgar, the channel member, nice to see you, man, and thanks for the support. Says, cheer up at least a little bit. The judge in Wisconsin was convicted. Yes, sir. Yep. And look, tonight's been like negative and positive both. Actually, I've given you guys some good news. Dude, I was showing you testimonies of people. There's a lot of them, like well over 100. Very well thought out, very smart, very good comments you guys were leaving. That's awesome. I'm talking to representatives. I'm talking to staff. Even senators are hearing about this. They're like, yeah, it's creating quite the buzz, this red flag repeal. Trust me. So no. We're being negative and positive both at the same time. But there's elections coming up here real soon, and a little bit less than a year. Now, I say flip because it's like it's red versus blue, and that's all you have. I hate the dichotomy, but if you're going to find someone that's pro-Second Amendment, you're probably going to find them in the Republican Party. Now, just having Republicans doesn't mean crap to me. I'm not a Republican, but if we get the majority in the Michigan Senate of Second Amendment supporting Republicans, that's the key. Second Amendment supporting Republicans, because if they're not for the 2A, then to hell with them. And we get a Second Amendment defending and supporting governor, and the Michigan House remains Second Amendment. Now, we're going to see where they're at. That's why we need to repeal this red flag. Because if they can cement themselves in and say, all right, now we're on the record. We've repealed red flag laws in the Michigan House. I'm like, all right, now hold on a minute. Then if we can keep them retained and then get a pro-Second Amendment majority in the Senate and in the governorship, then these laws will be gone. So that's why it's such an important step to get this repealed in the House, because I just need to see where they're at. I need to see how the people on my ballot are voting. You need to see how the people on your ballot are voting for the Second Amendment. And I think there is a lot of people out there that are kind of like, you know what? You know, kind of like, I don't even know if I want to go vote anymore. Some people are thinking they're not sure. Now, I know a lot of you guys will no matter what. Awesome. But maybe there's enough people out there, and it would just take a few because it was really close. Maybe there's someone out there that's like, dude, I wasn't even going to vote, but let me come up with a name here. But my state representative, Mike Harris, he voted to repeal red flag laws out of committee on the House floor. Well, I got to go show up to vote for him. You know what I'm saying, right? So I just need to see where they're at right now. I just need to see where they're at. They want to take more guns from Australia. Did you guys hear that? I'm like, what the heck? More gun control in Australia? I was going to tonight. Let me ask you all a question, if I could, please. Let me know in the comment section if you're watching on replay or in the live chat. We've been going an hour and a half because this conversation just kind of went where it went organically, and I hope you enjoyed it tonight. I was originally going to come in here. Let me just show you what I was originally going to do tonight. But maybe we can do this another day this week, if I'm not banned from this site by then. Let me come over here. I was going to show you this, which is the whole entire committee hearing, okay? It's going to last about an hour and 13 minutes. Now, maybe only people from Michigan would be interested in this, but I have a lot of Michigan viewers, but maybe y'all from other states would like this too. So let me know if there's like a few people or a few more than a few, and one or two, you know, a few more than a few would like that. Maybe I can come on here and we can play this hearing so you guys can see exactly what was said with the verbal testimony. some of the questions from the reps, and I can offer some of my commentary on some of that as well. Because I don't want this to be a dead topic, because we did just have testimony in the Michigan House of Representatives Judiciary Committee, but that's the first step. So, yeah. What's happening, Rosie? How you doing? Thank you for being a channel member and supporting the channel. Yeah, there is crazy stories like that. Can't remember what state, but a story you told happened to a guy working the gun department, I think, of Brass Pro. Was red flagged years ago after going out with some girl. He lost his job, guns, and wife. Yeah, that stuff happens, man. It's crazy. There was a man in Maryland. It was one of the first states to pass gun control, right? They come in a lot of times. It's a no-knock raid style. They come in with the jack boots. They bust the door down, all of that. It's nasty stuff. He thought there were burglars breaking in. Because here's the thing. It's called an ex parte hearing. And the vast majority of these red flaggings, at least in the state of Michigan and other states, they happen ex parte, meaning you don't even know the hearing's happening. It happens completely behind your back. So as far as you're concerned, you're a law-abiding citizen, right, Mateo? See, here's a perfect example. Mateo's a law-abiding citizen. Now, at one time, man, you know, some of the girls maybe he used to run with at a certain point. You know what I'm saying? Look, he's a Marine, all right? Do I have to say anything else? Marines, maybe they've known a few women in their life at a certain point. I'm trying to be very politely, you know. All of a sudden, Mateo's sitting there. He's practically an old man at this point. No, he's not that old, but he's older than me. So here's Mateo. He's sitting there. He's an old man. I don't know. Maybe he had a girl once when he was in the Marines or something, or after he got out of the Marines, let's just say. I think he was actually a good boy when he was in the Marines, but whatever. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Marines like their women. I'm just saying. So he you know, maybe he did date a chick once or twice or 200 times, but he's just sitting there minding his own business. He's an old man now sitting there. I think Mateo likes to just sit there and kind of whittle and, you know, whatever old men do in his rocking chair. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that what Southern boys do? They sit on the porch swing and they whittle or something. I don't know. I'm trying to stereotype. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, he hears, meow. That was his cat. Like I said, make sure your dogs are in order. Cats, doesn't matter what it is. And all of a sudden, it's like Susie Rottencrotch. Now she's freaking red flagging him. He's like, what the heck? I turned you down. I turned her down. I never even dated her. So he's probably, when his door's getting busted in and someone just shot his kid, he's probably grabbing his gun. And then before you know it, flash, bang, boom, drop the gun, stop resisting, as they've already unloaded about 15 MP5s into you. Now, I'm not trying to forecast anything. That's not going to happen to you, Mateo. I'm just bringing up a point here. Because I know the guy well enough, he's like a total square. He doesn't even like do anything wrong to anybody. He's just like kind of a homeboy, if you will, homebody. So somebody comes to your house and you're just sitting there minding your own business and they're busting the door in, you're probably going to pick up your gun, right? Well, maybe it was an ex parte hearing. Now, that's not going to happen to Mateo, though, thankfully, because he lives in the great state of Kentucky and they don't have red flag laws. But somebody in Michigan, you just can't quite be so sure now, can you? Or Florida or many other states. Some of the worst ones that are the most aggressive are Florida and Michigan, by the way. Florida, that's the gunshine state. That's Governor DeSantis, and that's like super red. And wow, that goes to show you, man. You know, there is that paradigm out there, that red versus blue, and it's, you know, gang warfare, the Crips versus the Bloods. And well, hold on a minute. The Bloods must be the good gang because they're against the... I'm just saying, though, right? This was so weird. And I know you guys that live in Florida are like, yeah, dude, we know. Like, you can't even have like a trigger in Florida. Anything with your trigger at all. As far as I know, if you even like polishing the engagement surfaces on your trigger in Florida, that's a no-no. It's like crazy stuff like this. Like really, really severe red flag laws, just, and it's like one of the reddest states in the whole country. They call it the gunshine state. So this goes to show you everything doesn't meet all of like kind of the societal reputations out there. Yeah, it is going to be, of course, New York's like really bad for guns, and so is like, you know, California's really bad for guns. But then you'll have like Florida's randomly like really bad on guns too, and it's just like this whole Michigan. We need to turn this around. Martin Edgar, member for 11 months. Thank you for being a member so long, man. That's a long time. He says, Merry Christmas, folks. God bless you and America. Well, God bless you as well. And God bless all the good people in the chat. Okay, play the hearing, people are saying. Let me go back and look here. I asked you guys, this is going to be another stream. We've been streaming an hour and a half. The hearing's over an hour, right? What's happening, Midwest Logger? How you doing, man? He said, I'd like to see the hearing with you all. Cool. Cool, man. Rescue not. Okay, so some of you guys might like to actually... What's happening, Kevin James? Playing a banjo on the front porch picking. Now, dude, I grew up with my dad here in Michigan playing bluegrass music on his mandolin. Dude, I'm all about like the back porch picking, the front porch picking. There is a difference between the two, technically. I like all that kind of stuff. I even like people playing the washboard and the spoons, and you should hear the stuff I like. I love that kind of stuff. Well, that's Kentucky, right? The bluegrass state. Isn't that what they call it? You guys just know I was joking about Mateo. He never, ever went on a date with any kind of girl and kicked her to the curb in his life. He never did nothing like that. You guys didn't think I was making him out to be a wild man, did you? Yeah, something's missing. I was wondering if anyone's going to notice it's missing. Maybe I had to sell it to keep the lights on. I'm not sure. What if I did? Fun to learn. Thank you for being a channel member. I was wondering if anyone was going to notice. I'm not sure anymore. Randy Smith, 2A playing the jug. I don't know how to play the jug, but I do like the jug, actually. That is pretty cool. I do like it. Right, Mateo? Maybe we had to sell it to... You guys know it goes without saying that, like, they've been demonetizing everything too, right, on YouTube. It's not just that they've given me a strike and taken away, like, a ton of my subscribers and turned off notifications to, like, all my regular viewers. No. It's not just that. Trust me. I don't think they've been playing a lot of advertisements on these streams. And if they are, this channel's not seeing them. Now, I've never played ads while they're live, but I will submit them afterwards and see if they want to play them on replay or not. And for the last little while now, they've said not so much. Not so much. Did I take it out shooting? I mean, I don't know, man. Lots of sore subjects, guys, going on with this platform. Yeah, I didn't think you've ever done anything like that, Mateo. None of you guys have ever been on a date with a woman, right? Because, I mean, geez, you didn't know it at the time that if you went out on a date with them, no matter if it was a year ago, 100 years ago, they could come back and red flag you. I mean, geez, oh, Pete. We just need to convert this over to the incel channel. Incels only. Just cut the dang thing off. You don't even need it anymore. And then we'll just sit there peacefully, right? Just so peaceful, being like, I can't be red flagged. My testosterone's gone. And just sit there and la-da-da-da-da-da. We'll just sit there with our phones with TikTok, just scrolling infinitely. That's the wonderful utopia they all have planned for us. I mean, think about this for a minute. You know, we laugh, and sometimes we're a bit sarcastic on this channel, maybe a little bit, but that is like what they want, though. Actually, jeez, oh Pete. You know, I used to sit there, and I was never politically correct, but it's like there was a time, and I'm embarrassed to admit this, but there was a time where I tried to be a little more civilized, and people would say stuff like, "You're a misogynist." I'm like, "No, I'm not. You're a racist." "No, I'm not." And I'm finally like, you know what? You know what? Yes, I am. Whatever. I'd actually say that because I ran into this. What are we even going to call him? We'll just call him a tard, okay? I ran into this tard, Tard, and they literally wanted to take up this whole toxic masculinity. And then they said just having a penis at all was toxic. And I'm like, excuse me? Like, are you some kind of pervert or something? And I thought this was a guy I was talking to, but whatever. I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, man, these people are messed up. Like, real messed up. And then within about 30 seconds, it went to gun control. And, oh, you've got raging men with toxic masculinity that are using guns. I'm like, dude, all these guys that are using these guns and these famous high profile, they call it the mass shooting, the things at the schools. Dude, they're all these little incel dweebs. Well, that's literally what they are. It's like the total opposite. I'm like, excuse me? You mean a bunch of these little incel dweebs? Yeah, they're the ones, actually, for the high profile type things. And then there's the statistical grind where they're like, oh, there's this many shootings a year. Huh, yeah. Here's the problem with them. This gets solved real quick. The same people that do tend to be about 13% of the country's population and commit over 50% of the violent crimes also tend to be kind of the ones that complain a lot. Well, your great granddaddy allegedly owned my great granddaddy. Yeah, like a teeny percentage of Americans have ever owned anyone. Most of them were too poor. You know what I'm saying? It's like, excuse me? No, actually, my ancestors didn't. And by the way, you don't sound like you're very grateful to be here. They talk about how they hate this country. And it's like, you know what? Then just get on a boat and go back to where you came from. Okay? Just go back to the sub-Saharan. Go back. You'll love it. I heard the weather's nice. You can enjoy your mud hut, your whatever. Just think of this. Think of this. We have a place that for thousands of years, they still don't know how to build 2-story buildings. You'd be much happier there. Just go there. Right? They'd be much happier there. Right, DB Cooper? I'm not making this stuff. I'm just taking their word for it. That's how I am nowadays. Somebody sits there and they're like, oh, America sucks. America's the worst place to be in. You owe me reparations. I'm like, yeah, I do. I'll buy your ticket. I'll buy your one-way ticket. I'll buy your boat ticket so you can go the heck back. Go back to where your people came from then. If you still want to refer to it as your people and you need to classify yourself as something, no, I'm sorry. I'm tired of being politically correct. If anyone has to qualify themselves with anything, then they're not really a real American, actually. If you have to start off by saying, as an African American, no, you're either an American if you're African. And if you want to call yourself African, then just go back to Africa. Thank you. We're all happy. I'm happy. They're happy. Everybody's happy. You hear all these people from Somalia, our country, my country. Excuse me? If your country isn't this country, then you don't belong here and you need to get the heck out. And there's probably still somebody out there, some dullard, sitting in the back row being like, but I thought this was a 2A channel. What's this have to do with the 2A? 2A EDU. This is the most racist channel I've ever seen. No, if you don't get it yet, then you're stupid and you can go too. Because here's the thing, this has everything to do with the Second Amendment. These people vote 80 to 90% of the time, every time, for people that are promising to get rid of every last bit of our guns, actually. Did you know that? The 13% of the population that commits over 50% of the violent crime, giving guns a bad name, giving gun owners a bad name, giving the other side all the fuel to the fire, votes Democrat about 80 to 90% of the time. And they hate it here. And they want reparations. They want handouts. 80% of these illegals I've heard are on welfare. They're not grateful. The more you give them, the more they complain. See, this does have everything to do with the Second Amendment. But hold on to EDU. Not all, not all, not all. Yeah, I don't even care anymore. This is becoming such a big issue. I don't even have time to be nuanced about it. Because it doesn't even matter. If you don't sit there and kiss their butts and worship the ground they walk on, they're going to call you all these names. And that's how I am lately. I just cut right to the chase. Don't even bother to accuse me. Here's your real quick answer. Anything you're about to say, yes, I am. Whatever. Move on now. You know? I mean, why not? Did I take it out shooting? No, no. I didn't do that. Ammo is expensive, actually. Vince Metzger. I also notice a lot of complaining among these folks. No, they do, though, man. That's the thing. And I'm not even hateful. That's not it at all. Like, it's just all these patterns. And then it all gets taken out on other people. It's just like, geez, oh, Pete. Right, Christmas, Lamy? His fleece was white as snow. 2A EDU. We need cultural appropriations here. Your llama's fur is too white. No, actually. Actually, his fur's a good color here. Now, original Lamy. My friend Ray was right last time she saw him. This is like a landscaping shop, guys. It's dusty in here. It's not like the cleanest environment. Like, there's literally like tools over in the corner with dirt stuck to them. His fur has gotten pretty dirty. That's all right, though. What's happening, Pillbox Bunker? Do I see Pillbox Bunker out there? There he is. Pillbox Bunker gave me the, well, I say me, gave it to me to bring back to Lamy. Gave Lamy that half track. There's Pillbox. What's happening, man? Thank you for being a channel member. But yeah, he gave that to me at a 2A Sanctuary County meeting in Livingston County, Michigan. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's a nice guy. What do you think? I mean, Lamy right here, original Lamy. That's the security for the shop right there. But you gotta bring out Christmas Lamy for Christmas once a year. We probably should do one more stream before Christmas so I can do the red flag hearing and we can do our commentary and kind of powwow about that, because it does give us insight of what the other side has up their sleeve. And then it'll give a chance for Christmas Lamy to make his next appearance. Good boy. Look at him right there. Good boy. See? We're nice on this channel. He's a good boy. Fun to learn, channel member and a super chat. Thanks, Fun to Learn. I appreciate you, man. Now, hold on a minute. We're not having any boating accidents, are we? What do you think? What's happening, Rosie? Thank you for being a channel member. How you doing? Look, he's a good boy, isn't he? I like him. What's happening, Jane? How you doing? Hold on a minute. In the past few days, I've been called a liberal and a dumb just for criticizing Trump for being a narcissist pushing data centers. Oh my gosh, dude. They're wanting to put one in Monroe soon. They're putting one in Saline right now. There's one in New Hudson that they're getting ready to put in. Lyon Township, if anyone's near South Lyon area. Wixom, New Hudson, if you guys know, you know. Dude, these data centers are just blowing up everywhere. Like, that's super, super scary. Like, super, super, super scary. What's going on with all this? There we go. Australia is punishing its law-abiding folk again because of the acts of the Islamists. I know. What's happening? Anonymous 6'7", how you doing? Because I'm from Michigan. We need to get a beer together, man. You're funnier than I thought. I mean, I'll give you guys a secret. Any of my little, I don't really think I tell jokes, but any little quips, it was Christmas Lamy the whole time. Nice looking fella, isn't he? What do you think, Mateo? See, here's what I'm worried about. I get red flag. Think about it. I'm sitting here, and they're looking at him, and they're like, yeah. Well, first of all, he's got his red scarf and his red hat. Now, original OG Lamy. This is actually Lamy. That's his name, right? See, he has a portrait right there, like literally hand painted. That's awesome, by the way. And he's good to go. He's on a half track. He's got a mod deuce. But this one, red scarf, red hat, red flag. He's white. See what could happen? I've had a couple people threaten to red flag me. I don't know if they either didn't do it or they did it and it got denied, or maybe they're still looking for me. I have no idea. I've had a couple threats. Well, just people telling me that. But here's the thing. You don't know when you're red flagged until it's too late, because they usually don't tell you about it. Now, here's the thing, man. I've been real fair with Trump. I've called Trump out when he's done things against the 2A. I've just called a spade and said he's been a lot better this term. He's done some actual good things for the Second Amendment. I've talked about that. And, you know, you kind of piss people off every time. I know what you mean, Jane. I get it. If you praise Trump too much, half the people are mad at you. If you don't praise him enough, the other half are mad at you. And I'm just kind of like, man, I'm surprised there's still some people left that still like me, because, like, I'm not really into the political parties at all. So, I mean, you know. Vince says, yeah, 2A, where's the multicultural llama? I don't see a rainbow flag either. Shame on you. No, that's the gay church down the road. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off in 1 second. But did you hear what I just said? The gay church down the road. No, it's literally a church, and it has a rainbow flag as its main mascot, and it has a lesbian dyke minister. I'm like, oh, let me guess. Her next sermon is going to be, the main topic of her next sermon is how a woman shall not lie with another woman, and a man shall not lie for another man. Do you think that's going to be her next sermon? I don't think she preaches from the book of Leviticus, does she? I mean, Now, we did this on this channel before. I lost a ton of subscribers. That's why at a certain point, I'm like, dude, is everybody just retarded and gay? 2AEDU, you have to be more inclusive. You can't rip on the gays. Whatever. Dude, you guys do know that there's like tons of gun tubers that are totally gay. It's like totally obvious. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just the only one that can see it, but I'm just like, whoa. But no, it's like I'm sitting here and I'm like, no, I literally in one of my streams months ago. I'm not going to preach too long because you guys that are still here are still here. The ones that unsubbed and like this huge defiance. It's like, don't worry, guys, unsub if you can't handle it. Whatever. Some people still read the dang Bible around here, actually. But I went through all the different verses where it talks about it. I'm like, well, I mean, I didn't write it. Go unsub from the Bible or something. I didn't write it, actually. But I do believe it. How many do you think there are, Mateo? I think there's a lot more than anyone will ever admit to. And here's the reason. Here's why I'm sick and tired of all them too, because they've shoved it down my throat. You used to hear in the 90s, what happens in someone's bedrooms between them and, you know what? Back then, I was like, whatever. I've always thought it was sinful. But back then, it was kind of like whatever to a point. I mean, I kind of feel bad about it now, but I was young too. I was like a teenager back then. And I remember that used to be the conservative talking point. Whatever happens in their bedroom, and it was the liberal and conservative, and everyone kind of agreed at a certain point. Then they had to start shoving it down my throat. So I'm to the point now where I'm like, nah, screw them people too. Gort, member for 52 months. Well, thank you for being a channel member so long. And he says, Merry Christmas to everyone here. Well, Merry Christmas to you. And I will also concur with that. Randy Smith got my 2A llama ornament up. My favorite. Awesome, man. Does anybody have those? Jim's YouTube. Yes, it does. The second defends all the other rights. Absolutely. And this is all tied in together. This is why the founding fathers wanted us to have a Second Amendment. Because they knew there was going to be all these weirdos trying to come after us eventually. What's happening, Mike McClune? How you doing, man? And thank you for being a longtime channel member as well. I mean, look, man. I see you guys are having a lively discourse about this stuff. This whole Trump topic, it can get deep real quick. What's up, KC Smith? I think it was you that brought up, that might be next week's live stream. So I'm thinking maybe there was enough people interested. Maybe I will do that standalone live stream in the next couple days where we can go over the actual committee hearing itself, okay? And then I think maybe next week, we'll have to see. Yes, Dana Nessel is doing some shady stuff with FRTs. No, it wasn't you asking me. It was somebody else. See, you guys leave me comments, and you left me a recent comment. Okay, scratch that. It was probably somebody else. But, yes, FRTs and bump stocks and all that. It's getting complicated. Ranges are starting to ban them now from what I hear, and there's a whole thing. So let me gather some more information, and we'll talk about that soon. But what's happening, KC Smith? Now that I think about it, I think it was somebody else that had brought that up, maybe. But you were also in my recent comment sections. Good night, Drain the Swamp. Good night, Ace Diamond. Merry Christmas, yes. Heading to bed. Hold on a minute. Fun to learn. My ornament is hanging within 4 foot of me. Nice, man. Nice. Yeah, those were cool. And I figured there was a couple of you who still had them. Start a 2A party, Pillbox says. Here's the problem, though. You know, I would, but well, you have to be like a millionaire to run political parties. And second of all, then I wouldn't be able to like it anymore because I don't really like political parties. But I hear you, dude. I'm with you because here's the thing, man. Like, you start off something and it's good. And then it just seems like over time, stuff gets all messed up, doesn't it? I don't know. I'm just kind of disenchanted with political parties. And it's not me that came up with that. If you look at George Washington's farewell address, after he decided to no longer run again, he could have kept running for re-election, but he said, no, that's enough. Now, don't get me wrong. The liquor business was good. The liquor business was good, right, Mateo? And he did need to get back and put away his equivalency of more millions of dollars. But now George Washington actually warned us about a lot of things. I know it's kind of like dry, and a lot of people probably don't really read such things, but maybe if some of you would like a good read. See, here's where I'm being 2A EDU again. Teacher, whatever you want to call me. I don't know. No, we're better looking than the average teacher here. I mean, come on. Shout out to any teachers that aren't woke, by the way. But no, go look up George Washington's farewell address. Talks about some of these things. Jane says, I'm not a cultist. I only worship Jesus. Right on, Jane. And that is the thing with Christmas, right? Like, I know everybody here is not like super Christian, and maybe some of you aren't even religious, but like I just wanted to remind everyone at the beginning of this stream, so I guess I'll leave with this. That is what Christmas is, right? Like Christ is in Christmas, and I don't know. Beware of the factions. Well, yeah. What's up, M. Gabriel? Mateo says, I thought he needed to swim in it like Scrooge McDuck. Now, I'm thinking, I think that's what we'll do. And maybe, look, you don't have to be from Michigan to enjoy good commentary and hangout stuff. But yeah, maybe we will just do another stream here in the next couple days. I think that sounds cool for the where we can actually go over the hearing itself, where I'll play the video and we can talk about it together. And then we'll kind of come up with our next strategy from there. But I think over the next 3 weeks, if there's anyone still from Michigan watching, that I think we still need to be getting hold of these reps. And I just thought of something else too. Not that I'm tasking you guys to this. Look, I'm so busy in my state, I don't really have time to write reps in your state. So, hey, we're even there. But if there's someone from another state that is like, dude, I wish I could help, but I don't live there, I think you guys might have standing too, actually. If you think about it, you could write some of these Michigan reps and say, hey, I might be considering moving to Michigan, but not with the red flag law. Now I won't. Or you might be thinking to yourself, I would vacation in Michigan and spend my money there. You see where I'm heading with this? But until you get rid of these red flag laws, I think I won't. So, and every once in a while, people have asked me that. They're like, well, dude, I don't live in your state, so I can't really help, but I'd like to help. Think about what I just said there. Good night, Rescue Nut. Good night, Drain the Swamp. Yeah, that sucks, man, how that is hearsay, and that's what red flags are. But here's the thing, man. He said in his testimony, his voice was heard. Is it going to be enough? I don't know. But you can't say you didn't try. Right, Drain the Swamp? No one can say you didn't try. Good night, Wafagoey. Take it easy, man. Drew in Oregon. What's happening? How you doing? What am I holding? Are you talking about me? Are you talking about somebody else in the chat? Now, people are getting wrapped up. It's called TDS. Trump derangement syndrome, and it happens on both sides. I've seen it on both sides. Jeez, oh, Pete. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up on the way out, guys. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe, because I look over and I've got this little pane on the side with my analytics. Not because I'm a numbers person. I'm just making sure like I haven't gotten kicked off of here yet. Because we've had streams canceled abruptly too. But I look over here just to, like off to the left over here on the side. And I'm like, I literally just said TDS and I said Trump, but I just lost another subscriber. Now, generally speaking, we'll leave on a positive note. Generally speaking, they're back. They'll come back. I know, we'll still be friends. You'll be back, but whatever. No, it's literally that volatile, Mike. It seriously is, dude. Like, Mateo's seen it happen too. It's like you're sitting there and you literally say something. You say, well, speaking of Trump, and bing, you lose a subscriber. Then I'm like, now, hold on a minute. Trump is a lot better on the Second Amendment this term than last term, you know? And bing, just lose another subscriber. And I'm like, but with him calling for red flag laws in his last term, that was a wad of crap. Bing, lost another subscriber. And I'm like, he did ban bump stocks, guys. We have to, call out, even if you consider him your own. Bang, lose another subscriber. I'm like, however, Trump started that Second Amendment task force, so that's a good thing. Bang, loses another subscriber. No, I totally get it, man. You compliment the man, half the people are pissed. You give him some constructive criticism, the other half are pissed. You admonish him outright, I guess everybody's pissed, except for the ones that are happy. But if you were to offer him any praise, those that were previously happy, they're now mad. Before you know it, you've got 10 people unsubscribing. But by the next day, they realize we're still friends. All 10 of those subscribe. But then Neil, if you know who he is, you know who he is. The overlords, then they just randomly unsub 15 people. So at the end of the day, you lose 10 by being yourself. All of them come back because you're still friends in the end. And then YouTube just sucks 15 out of you. So there you go. That's the rundown if you guys were wanting to know the inside scoops. There you go. If anyone wanted to know, right, Barbecue King, what's happening, man? How you doing? No, I've never been a fan of Miss Blondie. She was the one that called for the red flag laws, and she's defended red flag laws, all the gun control in Florida. Never trusted her. She's always been anti-gun. And that's the problem. And there shouldn't be a woman attorney general at all. It's just, no, none of this. None of this. Don't like any of it. She liked your post for fighting against us? Well, hey, man, you got to get the story out there, don't you? No, here's the deal, though, right? Infamy X. I mean, it's just, this is the times we're in. I say 10 things about Trump, I lose 10 subs, I get them all back, but then YouTube just sucks 15 of them out. Just random people. They could be my best friends, my most regular viewers. Maybe they've only watched once, doesn't matter. You know all of those, like how to get a more successful YouTube channel? That's what I should do. I'm going to totally quit 2A EDU tomorrow and call myself YouTube Analytics Guru. You know, all those guys have like 1 million subs each, and they're like super shill. Analytics sub guru. And here's going to be my $1 million point. I'm going to make my millions. Maybe we'll be able to get the favorite AK back up again. We'll be able to get it out of hock. We'll run right down to the pawn shop and be like, guys, I just started a channel. It's called the YouTube Analytics 2A Guru. And here's basically going to be my only talking point, okay? No matter what you say on this site, because there's all this crap going on, you're going to hurt 50% of the people's feelings half the time and 50% the other time. But you really didn't hurt anybody's feelings, and they didn't really unsub. They just wanted to teach you a lesson. But then, like a thief in the night, comes the old YouTube AI algorithm, and it just sucks them out. So you can put out good content and you'll gain subscribers. You can put out crap content and you'll lose subscribers. But at the end of the day, YouTube will just steal your subscribers away from you, actually. And they'll demoralize you and they'll do everything else. So that's my next million. What do you think? You guys are going to see Christmas Lamy next year with this big fat like Rolex. You know what I mean? real gold. I'm going to come on here. You guys will barely even recognize me. I'll have a big diamond studded gold grill on. Big old clock around my neck. Right? The real two-way doesn't need the woke. Hey. Only if we'll have an official meeting between the original Lamy here and Christmas Lamy. We'll decide on this. Dude, that's going to be awesome. By next week, I'm going to be on here doing the full Manscaper ad. I say, you guys want to get pumped? Let's get jacked up. Here's how your YouTube channel gets successful. And then YouTube will come through and take away all your subs in the middle of the night. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go back to the beginning, because every day, just like literally every day, Merry Christmas, Wafagoy. Every day they come in and they're like, dude, I've been unsubbed from your channel. I haven't seen a video in years. I'm like, well, I guess. No wonder there was only 3 people at the last 2A rally. They've unsubbed everybody. Good night, Vince. I'm glad you had a good time tonight. And nice seeing all of you. Barry McCockiner. I like that. That at least sounds like a real man. You know what I mean? Everybody's gay except for Mr. Barry McCockiner is definitely not gay. And I would say Jane Locke's definitely not gay too, actually. Speaking of gays, look at this comment. Not you, 182Q. I'm not saying you are. Just for some reason, I have no idea why. Your comment reminded me of that. Dude, we've had llamas up way before that channel did, actually. So there you go. I have no idea why I said that. Just seeing the name in your comment reminded me of that earlier. Maybe because we've been talking about it so much. Or maybe for other reasons. I have no idea, actually. Oh, man. All right. Good hanging out with all of you. I'm going to say Merry Christmas to everybody, but I might see you guys on here from now till then to run over that Michigan hearing, okay? So maybe like we'll just say Merry Christmas to each other again if that happens. All right, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.